Hey everybody, we back at Breaking the Mental Chains the ADOS way. Tonight we're going to talk about Exterminate All the Brutes. It was a documentary on HBO. If you didn't watch it, check it out. The name of my show is Exterminate All the ADOS People. Indoctrination will help. Indoctrination will help. Now, it basically I made the name of this show because it's two ways to exterminate people. You can kill them off, or you can indoctrinate them and educate them and make them forget who they are, or not just forget, but where who they are don't get passed down to the kids because the parents stop talking about the lived experience that they live because it hurts and because of pain that that conversation may bring up. So basically what happens is you just don't talk about it. And as long as you don't talk about it, everything is fine. You move on about your day, you go on living. Eventually, generations and generations later, they don't know who they are. So the indoctrination do help. Um, I took down plenty of notes from this show, this documentary. It was wrote by a guy named Raoul Puckett. The movie was. The book was wrote by a white man. I can't recall his name. I didn't really write his name down. Anyway, the movie is off the book called Exterminate All the Brutes. And the guy did the movie according to the book, what the book a white man wrote, which the movie ultimately what this movie was supposed to paint a picture of the was of the ugliness of white supremacy. First conclusion I grew is, how do you get that from a white supremacy telling you his side of the story? Which the movie goes stream. There's a lot of truth in this documentary. The thing is kind of like what the way white supremacy works. You still got to watch where they won't cross the lines at. How they stay in a certain place with topics. One of the topics they started the movie with, and I probably stole my show here in the same place. But before I stole my show, I want to say this here. When you heard the word indoctrination, a lot of us, when we hear that word, a lot of us just kind of scam over it like, well, they ain't talking about me because I ain't been indoctrinated. I think for myself. The truth is, very few of us think for ourselves. A lot of times, you're being controlled in multiple ways, and that's why it's called indoctrination. Because of simple fact, sometimes you don't even realize which ways you're being controlled. Now, the indoctrination can attack the unconscious mind as well as the conscious mind. A lot of times the unconscious mind get attacked, and a lot of times we don't understand that part because it's kind of subtle. You see things, you listen to things, and eventually those things begin to reflect in your life. And you don't know. You say, I didn't use it like this, now I do. That's the unconscious mind being attacked. It's things like when I may send somebody a video, and I'm sure a lot of ADOS people send out videos and information to family members. We want our families involved with this fight because we fight for you. ADOS fight for you because they are you and you are they. Even though we ain't got no big names like a Oprah or a Tyler Perry endorsing us, it don't mean anything different. But because of indoctrination, we wait for the white supremacy to tell us who we should listen to. When a lot of times, at the end of the day, we end up still left out in the cold because these people don't fight for you. These people fight for white supremacy to protect that way of life, their way of life, not yours. So when we send out these videos and people, another form of indoctrination is the mind attention span. A lot of people got TikTok now. A lot of people Instagram. A lot of short videos. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. People don't realize this is another way of shortening people's attention span. Because what you'll do if you watch yourself, a lot of times you might sit on your phone for hours and just watch multiple short videos, just strolling, just watching them, just watch. 95% of them pretty garbage, not one thing learned. This is a form of indoctrination. It's the shorten the attention span of one's mind. So if I'm trying to educate you in the format that we setting up here, your mind can't pay attention long enough because the video's too long. I just can't watch it. It's too long. But if I'm trying to educate you on how to connect the dots, I can't do it in 5 minutes. Can't do it in 6 minutes. I got to be able to draw the line so you can learn how to make the mind become a critical thinker. It's like playing chess, as you see all the time. I'm talking about chess. Chess, you can make move quick, but the game still lasts long. Sometimes people, it's about you got a certain amount of time to make the move. What we are doing here, breaking the middle chain, is making it where dominantly what our people will be able to do is process lies quicker and know how to move off of it and know how to say, oh, I know what you up to. That's how we need our people to get where they can catch on to it. They can get the trickery. They can understand the chaos from the clear vision. They can understand who with them and who against them. But that takes time. Just like with chess, those people you see that play chess and it's being time, they didn't get to that point without being here at this point first. Training the mind to be able to focus for long periods of time. Not 30, not 3, not 2 minutes. It's as well as you build up the muscle, you got to build up the brain too. If you spend all day tearing down the brain, the body has no choice but to follow. Because the body can't do no more than what the brain tells it. That's the order of things. So here, you got long videos, but a lot of information. A lot of connecting the dots to things that you might not connect the dots to. So know that's what we do here. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We want people to pay attention, to be able to connect these dots. So, like I said, the name of the show, we're gonna show how the truth of his movie should have been Exterminate the ADOS people. Because even in his movie, he kind of, I would say, sugar-footed around about the role that American slavery played in not just in America, but internationally, the role that slavery played here in America. But we ain't gonna let him get away with it. We're gonna have to call him out. So here, he started the movie off talking about the Seminole Indians and their relationship with blacks. And a lot of times in the movie, they're going to go back in history and bring it to present time to show the connection between the two. Well, with these Seminole Indians, when it first come on, it's a woman. She's a Seminole. She's the leader of the Seminole tribe, and she approaches a white man that's saying that they had a property of the United States, which was slaves. And those slaves and those Seminole Indians were ready to fight with these black slaves, and they did as such. Out the gate, the white settler shot the Indian lady in the head, killing her. Now, when he talk about the nations of the Indians, he stayed on the Seminole Indians. And I'm going to tell you why he does this. Because that's the only way he can keep it 100% true. And once again, he going off too. He's an immigrant. Noah Puckett is an immigrant. He's from Haiti. The white man that wrote the book stayed away from other Indian tribes because he would have to also bring up the fact that these other Indian tribes, when they talk about them being slaughtered off, they also own slaves. So we're going to connect the dots why he's stuck on the Seminoles, but he didn't touch on this. So I'm going to share something with you here. On present times, we talking about the Seminole Indians. Because what you come to find out, that we ain't still dealing with the same group of Seminole Indians as John Horse dealt with. This I didn't share. Hold on, let me do it again. Didn't share. Hold on. Go back here again. Seminole. Okay. Should share again. Okay. So we see this article here. A Native American tribe in Oklahoma denied Black citizens COVID-19 vaccinations and financial relief. So when we look at this article, you see here, this is an ADOS woman. This is an ADOS woman. See, what you'll find out in this tribe is the Seminole Indians that's denying these people. See, by the time the Seminole Nation in Oklahoma began distributing vaccination to the tribal members, Ms. Simpson had already witnessed nearly 24 members of her extended family dead of COVID-19. She was relieved vaccine doses had finally arrived to protect those remaining. Now, what we are seeing right here, this lady is saying she ate us because the Seminoles, they live on the Seminoles reservation. But right here, this is in 2021. They used the blacks that lived on their land to get the vaccine shot, to get financial aid, but denied it to the blacks, the ADOS people. See, but when she showed up at the Indian Health Service Clinic and the capital of Seminole Nation, staffers refused to give her a shot. They told her that she wasn't eligible because of her tribal ID card identifies her as a freeman Seminole citizens who is descendants of enslaved black people. When she demanded answers, Stafford called over tribal police officers. See, so let me say this. We go back to the movie. The documentary, not the movie, it's a documentary. We go back to the documentary. Raoul started the movie off by showing a Seminole woman standing up with enslaved people, ADOS people, as a sign of a solidarity beyond BIPOC. I don't know if many of you heard this, but it's a term called BIPOC. It means Black, Indians, and people of color, meaning we all together. But the truth, all out through history to present time, nobody has stood in solidarity with ADOS. Nobody. Not even the Indians that you want to talk about that was being slaughtered off. They too stood with whites and owned slaves because the Seminole also end up owning slaves too. See, that's how these blacks are living on the land now. As you see what it said, these are enslaved people. Her ID card labeled her a freeman. A freeman means that the Seminoles freed them. So she also is American descendant of slave while carrying the blood of her oppressor within her. See, so this movie started off, it had some truth right then. Yes, Seminole Indians did fight, but at the same time, the movie didn't talk about John Horse, a ADOS man that led those slaves and fought with those slaves was fighting back. John Horse was the leader that led them to the Seminole. The movie don't speak of John Horse. It shows us an Indian woman, a Seminole woman that was the leader of the Seminole Nation at the time, gutting out John Horse, an ADOS man that stood up and was a leader of those slaves that he helped free them and took them to that Seminole Nation. So if you, even when this guy got interviewed, he said for the first time in history that it was a miracle that I could tell 100% truth. Well, you didn't, because you didn't tell all the truth. You took the words, because you are immigrant. You took the words of a white supremacy and you put it on a stream, and yet you didn't question why having an ADOS person did this. See, because we've been locked out. You didn't talk about that neither. But I am. I'm going to talk about that. See, we've been locked out. So, being that we've been locked out and ADOS people have been locked out, we got to bring it to the forefront. And as always, please subscribe. I know I started right into the show. Let me slow it down. I kind of jumped into my show. But if you got questions, you can put them in the chat. If you want to say something, you can put it in the chat. If you want to subscribe, hit that like bell. That costs you not a thing. But please subscribe and hit the like bell and share this. Share this with other people. So anyway, we go back to the story. And these are my notes. I gotta keep this thing together. So, and he didn't talk about that, but he said it was a miracle that he got to tell 100% truth for the first time in history in the movies. But what he don't connect the dots to, that it wasn't a miracle that had happened. It was the body count of dead ADOS people that led to this movie being able to be wrote on a platform like AT&T. Because of all the black people we have seen that done died in the street at the hand of police brutality. Because of the record-breaking number of ADOS men, being more ADOS men in prison than all race of women in the world. But yet, you not being ADOS, you being from Haiti, you get to come to America, go to elite colleges, and then get to produce movies and tell our story. And tell it from the perspective of a white supremacy, while at the same time saying you're fighting white supremacy. It's going to be kind of hard to fight white supremacy that way when you get the story from one lips. That is white supremacy. Now, one thing I wanted to also touch on, with this, I wanted to go to my notes I got here. And one thing I say in the note, he also called out Obama. One thing in the movie he did do, he called out a clip from Obama. Obama said that the nation was not built by colonizers. And he said he was wrong at that point because America was forced and built by colonizers at the hands of people that had colonized other people, ADOS people. We built this nation. He also, I want to touch on this when he talked, because another thing, he never ties other groups of Indians to this slave owning caste neither. So let's see, I'm gonna go here and we're gonna find another. I got another article here that talks about the Cherokee. So we see this thing here where I'm a descendant of the Cherokee Nation, black slaves. And hold up, didn't share. Hold on 1 second. Let me do it again. I don't know why they don't share out of the gate sometimes. Let's see, go here. Go there. I don't want to share. So the article here. And in this article, it talks about also the Cherokees. Almost 20% of their population also was slaves. A lot of the movie was based around the Native Americans, how much they had been slaughtered and killed, kind of drawing a line of a disconnection from them being slave owners, that the 5 major tribes were slave owners. So he never connected those dots neither. He just pretty much scammed like that didn't happen, but it did. 5 major tribes, they owned slaves. Let's see, I'm gonna go right here. As we saw with the Seminoles, we also see the same pattern falls with with other Indian tribes. Oh, that's the wrong one. I don't want that page. Let's go. Hold on. Let me do it again. I clicked on the wrong one. I'll get it in a minute. Okay. Okay. So we see here how Native Americans adopted slavery. Just no different than the it won't let me share, but no different than whites. They adopted this way of life from the white settlers. Actually, the Cherokee, a lot of the 5 major tribes, a year after slavery, in 1966, the federal government had to go back and force the Indians a year later to free their slaves. See, a lot of people don't talk about this story. You know, they don't talk about it because they know at the end of the day, we are the group nobody never really stood in solidarity with. We are the group that everybody used as the muse to carry the load. That's why ADOS is here saying no longer will we carry that load. We're gonna fight for our own group. Another thing he pointed out in the movie, he tells a story about all the money that was made, yet never say one thing about redistribution of wealth to the American descendants of slavery. He talked about how America built all this wealth and how they pull resources from everywhere, all these European countries, how they drain a lot of these black countries, and how slavery built all this wealth that had us locked under and locked out while our bodies built it. You see, he didn't dwell on it. He kind of gave the sense that what needs to happen though, and he kept referring to, I'm telling the truth because we got to learn to get along and move differently and just get along. But what I'm trying to tell him is that don't fix it. Just you telling a story and not saying it's a cost to what happened. Because these people, these ADOS people that's in America right now, still don't produce their own movies. Yet you come from a Haiti over here and you're a producer. And ADOS people that's been here for 500 generations, we ain't able to tell our true stories. That where Tyler Perry got to make up fake black coats, make a show about a fake black coat that never existed in real time. He basically took a Jim Jones movie and put a Jim Jones story up that happened in Texas, put a black face on it and black people in it, and retold it in the perspective of black folks. That's what we dealing with here. We can't tell our true story. Oprah can't, Tyler can't, because once again, white supremacy keep them at check. You know, but yet this Haiti person can come over here and tell the story and get allowed to tell it because then they paint him as very intelligent. That somehow he knows the lived experience of ADOS people better than them. Ain't that so? We being played, we being manipulated. Um, Another part in the movie that I want to talk about, he talks about going into, he was in a at a private school, and he got in a fight one day with a boy. And when he got in the fight, he had to be sent to the office, and he was expecting just to be a hard talk to and shake your hand and leave. Yet the priest pulled down his pants and beat him till he was raw. And he said from that day forth, he didn't believe in God no more. Yet you remember when I told you before, he came back and said it was a miracle that he was able to tell the story the way he was able to tell it. And I tell you, that wasn't a miracle. That was dead bodies that led to you being able to tell that story. Yet those dead bodies didn't lead to an ADOS person, an American descendant of slavery person, being able to tell the story of the descendants of slaves right here in America. It still led to you being accepted into white supremacy, while ADOS people being locked out, pivot to the bottom. You're not. And the truth, he beat around about that. That how everybody's still kind of moving against a certain group, and other groups are getting benefits while this certain group is being locked out and stumped out. He made a statement, knowledge is power. But I put a tweak on it because knowledge ain't power, but history holds true knowledge that then would deliver real power. See, if you understand how people are moving against you, you understand if you can tie it to your lineage, you can bring it up to present time to make it make sense that this person really is not in solidarity with you. He talks about the building of America between the 1700s and the 1900s. Yet, when he talks about this building of 13 million slaves coming into this nation and building, going from one end all the way to the other end of it, just building. He don't pin a cost to it. He don't pin a cost to it. He basically paints the picture that all whites need to do is own up and say we done it. And that'll fix it just by them saying they done it. As if we ain't stuck still holding the cost of slavery in our lineage, in our families. You don't fix it like that. It must be a redistribution of wealth. But he never said it. While all at the same time saying, I'm going to tell 100% of the truth. You don't tell 100% of it. We go to the cause another part, and he talked about the Jews and people in the Jews that talked about how they killed millions of Jews. They showed graphic documentation of Jews being killed, slaughtered at the hands of Hitler. And he connected the dots to how what Hitler learned, the way he started doing, he learned it from America. He learned it from America. Oh, definitely. When Hitler started killing the Jews, Hitler was looking at America. He learned his way from America, what they was doing to ADOS people. And he fell right in line with it. You see, he made us, as somebody said in the chat, he made us all the same. Johnny said in the chat, he made us all the same. And just oppressed by white supremacy. That's what he done with this movie. Not saying he didn't say some truth. He left out things because it will undermine that everybody is standing on the backs of ADOS people, even to this day. And the reason they able to do it, because we are struggling with our own identity as who we are and who we're not. It's not being offensive to tell somebody, I am not you and you are not me. We must be able to accept it, because if we don't, we'll be buried again in a whole different way. Now, understand when he talk about the Jews, he don't connect the dots to today's time as why don't the Jews stand up for ADOS people? Listen, if you have the same lived experience of me, which theirs lasted 10 years, ours is still continuance today. Just the other day, an innocent ADOS man got executed, and they found out after they executed him that he was innocent. DNA proved him innocent. We are witnessing extermination of us daily, right now, present time. You don't have to go back 500 years. They are doing it now, today, present time, erasing our very existence. You see, but he didn't connect the dots. He didn't say, even today, the Jews have built wealth in America. Why are they not standing up with ADOS people in their fight for freedom? Now, know and understand, ADOS men went and fought and helped free the Jews. Like it or not, I don't care who get mad about it. Like it or not, ADOS men that wasn't free themselves went and helped save the Jews. So my question to the Jews, where you at in the freedom of ADOS people? I cannot let nobody off the hook. If I help free, my ancestors help freed you. Where are you at for the freedom of our people, for the justice of our people now? And you have wealth in the country that we built. Basically what they did, they came over here too and ate from the fruit that we planted, yet and denying us from the fruit. Right now, you say things about a Jew, oh, it's going down. But listen to me. We must be able to tell the truth from history. Like it or not, yes, they got slaughtered off, but we got slaughtered off and we continue to be slaughtered off. We are continually locked out financially, and they don't stand in solidarity with us. So Do our people have more sympathy for them than your own people? See, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, how racism is in deep in our own group, that our own group is just as racist against one another than they are outsiders. They more accepted, our group, the ADOSHQ group, black people, are more accepting of outsiders than they is their own people. That's a problem. That's a problem. Because no one understands. Just because a person speak a different language than you and you think somehow they better than you, they unique. No, you the uniqueness. They only stand in your presence because of what you created, yet you don't eat from it. You don't eat from it. They eat from it. Um, he also showed blacks needing. So in the movie, when he in the documentary, he kind of showed a black priest following this white guy that's supposed to be like fighting for the military, slave owner, whatever. But this black priest was with him. He didn't really justify what was the significance of this. I don't know if he was trying to prove that if the roles was reversed and somebody was greeted like that white man, that they would turn a blind eye to it no matter who it was being happening to. Because at this time in the movie, it was white people being captured and beaten and enslaved. But he didn't say the name of the man it was, or whether this was a true statement. I kind of allude to that he was just trying to show the reverse roles and how somebody was greedy, they'll still turn a blind eye to it. So, but I was like, no, that ain't what white people done did in real time. They never have turned a blind eye to nobody doing no injustice to their people. See, he said 100% truth, yet he tries to pivot with that truth and show something that ain't true. Because whites ain't never showed in history. Even during the Civil War, they showed at the end of the Civil War that we gonna kiss and make up, and that's what they did. That's how we got the Sisters of the Confederate. Right in education that our kids are still being taught today in school, indoctrinating them. You see, that they don't understand what truly happened because of the women of the Confederate, the Sisters of the Confederate. And we even got black women that went to colleges teaming up with some of these women that are the descendants of the Sisters of the Confederate. See, that's the things we ain't talking about. We got black women teaming up with white women that are the descendants of the Sisters of the Confederate. That's indoctrination. That's indoctrination. From the highest, most I don't care how smart you think they are. When you team up with your enemy because you don't know who you are, that's indoctrination. You got to know who the enemy is to fight the enemy. Come on, that's the first thing in war, right? I heard a lot of people saying we're in war. Well, in war, you gotta know who the enemy is, but you also gotta know who is your ally and who is family, who is part of your tribe. If you don't know those things, you're moving kind of weird. You know, people hate me to say weird, but I mean, come on. You don't understand what's been done to you. You ain't paying attention to know you got to be indoctrinated to be teaming up with women that have for decades built statues about racist husbands and men and brothers that died to keep them alive. He made sure to show small groups of yeah, that's what I was just saying about the small group of white slaves. He seemed to me he wanted to change the roles a little bit and try to say if it will reverse, this guy would still be the same because he was greedy. But he wouldn't. We got true history that says nope, he wouldn't have done that because that ain't how they wrote. They had a full-blown war. They killed each other. They killed family and all, and they still at the end, Civil War, they kissed and made up. And that's once again how we got the Sisters of the Confederate. The daughters of the Confederate. I hate to say sisters, but the daughters of the Confederate. He never gave numbers on whites. Let me see. I'm gonna go down. He talked about in 1790 in Haiti, the uprising in Haiti. And when he talked about it, he never gave his ties to it as far as his own lineage. Where did he stand at when you talk about slave versus slave owner? He never tied himself. All he talked about though is being a child, how he moved all over the world. He lived all over the world. Somebody came from a lot of money to be able to maneuver all over the world. I'm ADOS. I haven't traveled all over the world. My mom and dad never traveled all over the world. You know? So we got to understand, when we say we got to pay attention to money, how it moves, when you see people moving all over the world, it's some money being spent. Where did they get the money? I need to know your family tree. I need to go deeper into it. I need to know who you are. I don't want you to think I can assume that he come from them slaves that uprised in Haiti and defeated their oppressor. Because it very well, he could have been a beneficiary of when they was enslaved. See, he don't want you to connect that dot. Another thing, he don't want to connect the dot understand how Haiti won the uprising. Those Haitians understood very clear. They understood very clear that, hey, we must fight fire with fire. Then we talking about time and an arrow. It was time and arrow. They knew in order to defend their way of life, they had to fight their enemy as their enemy and do to their enemy what their enemy was trying to do to them. Plain and simple. If you trying to kill my kids, my wife, I must come at you with the same brutality. Now I'm not endorsing violence. I'm telling the truth that he didn't tell. These Haitians put violence with violence. They fought fire with fire. And they kill until they can have their way of life. That's the truth. That's what they done. That's the truth. They wanted their way of life, and they were willing to die and kill to protect their way of life. And that's the truth. Sometimes you gotta be that way. You got a way of life you want. ADOS got a way of life that we want. That's why we must fight too. We must fight an intelligent fight. We must pressure people at all levels. We must not run or duck our head or put our tail between our legs like a scared dog. We can't do that. We got to stand up and fight. My other notes when he talks about the German doctors and scientists and engineers and so on. Then when he speaks on it, he speaks on the German scientists and stuff. When he speaks on these scientists, he say he couldn't understand how some of the finest minds, the most intelligent minds, could do such evil things. Some of the best minds is what he called them. Yet he won't able to connect the dots to how do you know they was the best minds if they was killing off people that could have been better? They was killing off the competition. See? So in order for something to be better, you got to have something to compare it to. Meaning, I'm a scientist and you're a scientist, and we say, hey, who the best scientist that can come up with a cure that ain't hurting people and really prevents the COVID virus? You got to have something to compare it against. If you kill off the competition, let's bring it to present times right here in America. If they starving our ADOS people, they starving our kids out in the projects. They deny them resources to a better education. They deny them to express themselves freely. They have no wealth. How do you then look and say they was the best? You basically set the deck for them to be the best. Because you start here in America, we don't get the best because the best could be plundered, starved out in the projects, in prison. Some of the best minds can be sitting in prison right now. That's when I'm talking about extermination. That's extermination, man. But yet we look at Mike Bloomberg, we look at Bill Gates, we look at Zuckerberg, all these people, and we saying they smart. These men are smart. How do you know they smart when they already set the deck up against you to lock you out? ADOS people. They tell you to go play the stock. You follow orders. You go play. You go play the stock. Not realizing the stock is where they resting their money at. They rest their money there. You take your pennies there to try to turn them into more, and you don't connect the dots. That ain't how Mike Bloomberg made his money, though. That ain't how Jeff Bezos made his money, neither. I hate to tell you, they didn't make it from the stock. Not saying they ain't making something from the stock. Elon Musk ain't make his money from the stock. He makes some money from the stock. But what you got to find out is where the money really coming from. You will find out that he getting a lot of government help. That's what Elon Musk doing. He getting a lot of government help. But see, you don't know that because he told you to go play Bitcoin. Put your money in it. Put your money in it. He tell you to put your money in, you go put your money in it. Yet you don't never dig into who Elon Musk is. How did he really get his money? It won't from the stock, man. I sit and I listen to my people jump from one thought to the next thought about how to get this money. Never once drawing the connection to these people that you are talking about, that you giving so much credit to. They got their money off of you, Negro. They got their money off you. That's the same money that was passed down generation after generation. See, as Johnny said, it was and still is about survival. Some of our people don't want to accept that. It's always about surviving. Either you want to survive or you want to be slaughtered off. Make your damn mind up. Eventually, you have to make your mind up. Stop telling your kids you love them, but you ain't willing to put it on the line for them. Tell them you hate them. Tell them you're going to sit back and watch them slaughter too. See, that's what I mean when he talks about the German. He has nothing to compare to German scientists and engineers to, but yet he called them the best, the greatest. How ethnic cleaning is occurring in America to us right now. Right now in 2021, while I do a show, I promise you, somewhere in this country, a black man, ADOS man, has been shot, has been killed. An ADOS woman, the same thing. And we keep not understanding we are still living a nightmare while everybody else is living the American dream off of what's happening to us. Because so remember, when people say the best, Okay. I'm back. My power went out for a second, y'all. So I'm back up, but yeah, my power went out. So I'm back. Hit me in the chat if everybody can see me in the chat right now. And let me know. My power, I don't know what happened. I think somebody must hit something because the power went out and came back on. So, but my computer went off when it happened. So, all right. So, yeah, the power went out, but I'm back. I'm back. So yeah, when I was talking about when you, oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Um, that's what when I'm talking about these Germans and these doctors, you can't say that you was dealing with the best because you don't know who the best was because you executed all the competition, and that's what they do here in America when they lock ADOS people out. You lock out, you keep us out of the competition, and then you say here's the best, and 90% of the time the best they give you is somebody white. So that's white supremacy. Now, another part in the movie said he say the best mind, but I say that with slavery, when I say with slavery and extermination, etc., all these things keep the best people out. Um, okay, I wanted to see. So when we start to look at why ADOS is saying that it's a critical moment for us to start paying attention to these moving parts, it's crunch time to do that. If we don't do that, we're gonna be just like these Jews. The only difference here in America right now, what's happening is we're gonna find ourselves buried worse than the Jews because we're gonna be fighting the Jews, the immigrants, and white supremacy. See, and know and understand when we don't understand our history and our lineage, what's gonna really happen. Because now we fighting everybody against us once again, and they don't need our bodies anymore to be a wealth. So what you're gonna see is the data showing it. 51% of ADOS people is homeless. It's some homeless ADOS people that don't know or realize that they are homeless. You see, because they stay with a family member. You see, and when you stay with that family, like, well, I stay with my sister. I ain't homeless. I got somewhere to stay. That's homeless. That means you can't afford your place of your own. That means if things go bad for sister, mama, auntie, brother, you go down with them. 51%. So many of us don't know what it looks like because we done made it normal. It's normal, the things we are doing. So when you hear that 51%, you say that ain't me. I got somewhere to stay. But you truly don't. And at the same time, you don't help support the bills that you generate, that you make in that household. As Johnny stayed in the chat, we are already being priced out. Areas that are food deserts. That's not only we got banking deserts, we got food deserts. I ride right down by the homeless shelter all the time. The line is down the street. You know who 90% of them is? ADOS. ADOS people. We must wake up to see the truth. Joe Biden wrote, they coming with another bill for the immigrants to help them get businesses and all, while still nothing specific for ADOS. And we telling our people that, listen, if we don't stand up, now, it's our extermination that's coming. The man talks about it in the movie when he say, it's like he mentioned about Haiti natives and immigrants, but they are not ADOS. They're not American descendants of slavery. We American descendants of slavery. Um, he kind of gives He does like the lady did with the 1619 project. She didn't want to talk about the financial side of it, how we had been locked out economically. She kind of gave this way of saying we just all need to get along now and things will be better. He kind of rolled with the same thing from a book wrote by white supremacy. And he came out with just get along with everybody and we'll be better. But that ain't what got us tethered at the bottom. It ain't that we don't get along with people. It's that people just use us for their own needs while at the same time denying us the access to what we built. But he don't draw that line because he himself came to America for the opportunities that our ancestors made possible to him. Yet he don't even give credit to that. He don't even give credit to that. He don't even give a credit to the dead George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, their bodies that gave him the power to write the documentary. He go from not believing in God to saying it's a miracle instead of giving credit to where it's due. It's due to these dead ADOS people bodies that AT&T allowed you to do that. Yet they still don't allow William Dickens to tell his story. I can't tell the story about my daddy and my granddaddy, my mother, my grandmother. See, my story is the story they want to conceal. Don't tell it. Don't tell it. You see? But they get his immigrant the will to tell a story that he himself don't understand it. He was moving all over the world. All over the world. He was moving all over the world. A lot of money being spent. ADOS calls whites. Let me see. Mainly the ADOS that know they are ADOS because whites have all ways of scaring. So when we talk about manipulation, one thing we got to understand about manipulation is the key to it is that you may see another ADOS person and he don't talk about the mental damage that happened to us through what we experienced. From the slaves that jumped off the ships, the slaves that stayed, what happened to them mentally. Where you see it manifest itself today through other ADOS people, where we scared to speak truth, that in the presence of whiteness, we put on the mask. We put on the mask to make whiteness be comfortable in our presence. ADOS women do it, ADOS men do it on a daily basis. We wear the masks instead of worrying about the bones and the blood of our ancestors, what they endured. We still are more conditioned to worry about white people being comfortable while we are uncomfortable. I say that a lot because there's a lot of you out there doing it. You need white people to feel welcome when they come in your presence. You don't talk to them about your lived experience. You talk to them about the football game, the basketball game. See, anything but what you dealing with to put pressure on them. They bringing in the immigrants to replace and erase us. We struggling with our identity. How long do we last before we are extinct? The movie is about us, yet he sugarcoat around the topic of us. He even touched on it and ran away from. He showed clips of black men being shot by the police. And he said, nobody's speaking on it. See, what he really manifests is that blacks are catching still, ADOS people are catching all the hell from every ethnic group in America. And nobody is speaking out on it. That's what's differently happened. See, it was in multiple countries, in multiple places, but right here in America, they done narrowed it down to one specific group that's going to stay tethered to the bottom. And that group is ADOS. And you don't got to say you ADOS. You can call yourself whatever you want to. They know who you are. Today, I brought up a conversation with some people, and they were using the term reparationist. And I asked a simple question, because that's what I always try to do, because I feel like a lot of stuff ain't as deep as we want it to be. It's very simple. It don't matter how many books you read, if you don't know how to make it simple and dumb it down and make it make sense to the people you're trying to reach, what good did any of it do? Is my take on it. But they was calling themselves reparationists. And in the midst of calling themselves that, I asked a simple question. What if you get a politician that say, yes, I'm a reparationist, and I'm going to do reparations, baby, because I'm a reparationist? How long before you figure out you just gave him some more slick talk? Because when he get in office, right, he gives the reparations to the immigrants. And he said, I stood by my word. I told you I was a reparationist. You didn't ask me who I was a reparationist for, because you just said a reparationist, and I am a reparationist. We got to be careful with our language, terms, and things we use, because so many want to pivot. So many want to undermine who made our minds see truth. Why? I touched on a topic about Abraham Lincoln and the way he made whites understand that we must stick together for the greater ultimate goal. The ultimate goal. And those whites fell in line when Abraham Lincoln explained it to them. The ultimate goal was to take the power from the South and redistribute that power to the North, and also the wealth that came with it. That's what made the war. You see, slaves' bodies building wealth for one part of the country and not the other part so much. So Abraham said, our ultimate goal is that. I know you don't like niggas, neither do I. And I hate to say, I know you don't like black folks, but Lincoln didn't either. He had slaves too. He had slaves too. See, but they came together at that table, that desk, and they said, yes, we got to do this. This is the only way to win. Well, I say to black folks, ADOS people tonight, can you come together for the ultimate goal, which is reparations? The ultimate goal, we got the same goal. What is causing you to pivot? See, that's the question you got to ask yourself. Because when you look through this movie, one thing that I can tell you about this documentary, Hitler was able to get his people to stand in solidarity with the killing of those Jews. See, Hitler was able to get his people to stand in solidarity with what they did to those Jews. He couldn't do it by himself. Don't nobody talk about that a lot. He couldn't do it by himself. He needed his group. His group fell in line with it. Abraham Lincoln couldn't have won the war without his group, but they fell in line with it. They stood in solidarity with it. See, they knew what it took. Ask ADOS, are we going to be able to see what it's going to take? Or are we going to keep trying to find that light that shines? Let me be the one say it. I need to be in the front. I need to be the one producing. You don't know what you're talking about. See, as long as we do that, they know they're going to win. Until we can humble ourselves, take the back seat sometimes. As long as the ultimate goal remains the ultimate goal, can you take the back seat sometimes? And if you one that can't take the back seat, you the damn problem. And I don't care what you thinking. You are the problem. Like it or not. This fight is to the breaking point for us to survive here. You're going to have to sit down and say, make your mind up. Are you here for the ultimate goal, or you going to stay decisive, destructive, until you watch the execution of your people completed? This is a form of indoctrination. Hands down. The fact that we can't see and be able to stick together to accomplish our one ultimate goal, we can't do it. You find people against, oh, I'm against the black agenda. Black agenda include everybody. I don't want that black agenda. Like, what is wrong with you? Ultimate goal, baby. Ultimate goal. Our numbers are too small to be fighting amongst each other. What's coming from for us, our groups ain't paying attention. Our group ain't even paying attention to it. They too busy on Instagram watching LeBron dunk. When the slaughter hit them, they won't never see it coming. Those that survive may one day stroll through these digital files and find me talking like I'm talking now. They'll find people in the chat that can see it. And they'll ask the question, how couldn't they see it? He made it so plain. Because white supremacy made the distraction so attractive. Because white supremacy made the attraction so attractive. Ain't it something? We must, without a shadow of a doubt, stand up together, united. As I've said plenty of times before, one mind, one voice, one fist, in solidarity at all costs. We must put our differences to the side at all costs. For this moment now, if we can do this, we can win this battle in front of us. As Johnny said in text, some of our people won't care until it's them at the other end of the suffering. And that suffering is coming. It's another thing our people ain't paying attention to. And this is away from the movie. As I said, exterminate all the ADOS people. Indoctrination will help. Right now, things are moving. We're not paying attention. They talking about people, McDonald's coming out saying they can't get nobody to fill out an application due to the unemployment benefits. Them unemployment benefits are finna go. Get ready. For everybody out there getting them, know it's getting ready to be over. Everywhere you look, you seeing hiring. We are hiring. We are hiring. They coming for that unemployment. States are already. South Carolina did it. Another state also did it. They killed the federal unemployment. They stopped it. States done did it. Trust me, North Carolina ain't long to fall behind. The next thing you can get prepared for that's gonna happen is that which they already done did this. The rental where you can't be evicted has been lifted. In 2 months, 2 or 3 months, you finna see the ugliness you done ever seen when it come to our people. Oh, Montana did it. So what you're about to see is the ugliness is coming. A lot of people gonna be calling, looking help. Even though for 4 years ADOS been standing here telling you, you are the target. When you are the target, it is no running. When you the target, it's like being a deer. They set the corn, you got no choice to come get the corn because you got to eat. And that's what we are. We must stand up. We must wake up. We must come aware. It's time for critical thinking skills. We got people telling our stories still. They immigrants. And they came here for the benefit that our ancestors made. And then the conclusion they keep coming up with is just get along with everybody. Like everybody. Agree with everybody. Don't listen to Wim. Wim is telling you to be this type that don't get along. Y'all are the same. Your people of color. Please wake up and realize that's politician slick talk. I see some people that probably just came in the connection with ADOS. Know that ADOS don't do people of color, women of color, none of that. It's ADOS women, ADOS men. Bottom line, it's all the colors are in a Crayola box. White women got color, they white. White men got color, they white. They in the Crayola box. It's not a such thing as people of color or women of color. It's either you ADOS or you're not. Bottom line. We're gonna go to break. After break, if somebody want to call in, Johnny, I put that the number in the chat. If somebody wanna we come back, we can do a Q&A, we can ask questions. If it's something you saw in the newspaper, something you read, you want to know more about, hey, that's what we here for. We here to answer the questions, connect the dots. It ain't, and understand, we ain't just here. So you got one thing you realize about ADOS, we ain't just here to make you think. We here to educate you. See, it's no good in just thinking if you can't take the information that you're receiving and transform it into something that transforms your life. Don't forget it. That nothing can be done from just sitting and thinking. Understand that when we hear these things that we want to make ourselves believe they deep, it ain't deep. You can think all day. Unless what the information you have received is something you can transform into something else to transform lives, you ain't done that. Right here tonight, what we are discussing is things that we can do to transform lives by being able to connect the dots to who we are, to every article that be wrote on slavery around the world or America. We must connect it to us, to America. If we don't do it, we're done. You must be able, we must be able to not pay attention to things that don't transform our lives. You must do more than think with knowledge. You must be able to, the person that's giving you the knowledge, you must be able to take that information in and process it and recipher it back out and give pushback and make it better. That's critical thinking skills. We're going to go to break. I see everybody back after the break. We back. ADOS is back. We back. Breaking the mental chain. We back. We'll see, can we get some call-ins if people got some questions they want to put in the chat. We'll talk about it. Let me get this thing open up. Let me see. This thing here is kind of headache. Let's see. So we got the call lines up and we got the chat. If anybody got something they want to speak on in the chat, or you can ask questions in the chat. One thing I want us to definitely be able to do is to think for ourselves, man. To be able to sit down and listen to a like I did here tonight. I put on these hour shows, hour and a half, because I want to educate my people to be able to think. To not just to live life going to work, getting off work, and then you don't never stop and say, what am I doing it for? You know, where you find yourself just a repeatancy of nothing in return. And then one day you look around, you're old, you ain't did nothing that betters your life. You ain't did nothing to better your child life. You kept a roof over their head, maybe. You kept some food in their stomach. But have you pushed them to be better? Have you challenged their minds? Or do you just tell them to go to school and take in and regurgitate what they learn? Or do you tell them to challenge what they have learned? Do you tell them to push back on the teacher with the information she given them? I think we must do that. And I think not enough we don't do it. We kind of do this thing where we feel as if what we doing is the best at what we doing, that we don't need to do anymore. You know, um, if we if we don't teach our kids that, is we done. Um, as John had said in his thing here, other indoctrination of these politicians, Democrats and Republicans, saying America isn't racist. This is so. You voted for people right now. Some of you out there voted for Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and this woman come out and say America ain't racist. See, it was only one group standing up telling you who Kamala Harris was, who Joe Biden was. It was thousands of people on Facebook pushing back saying you must go on for Trump. No, we voted down ballot. We made a statement. That's fighting. Know and understand. We know we're gonna have to go through something in this fight to turn it around. But you got to be ready to take that sacrifice, that chance. We can't continue to move forward in the direction we've been moving, because it could be, it's somebody else's son today, it could be yours tomorrow. It could be somebody else's wife tomorrow, it could be yours the next day. If we don't stand up right now and make the sacrifice, if we let CNN tell us the biggest threat to America is Trump and not white supremacy in general when it comes to Democrat and Republican. See, we got them on both sides. That's another thing. Oh, I'm glad I brought it up. Because another thing in this documentary, he talked about Mitch McConnell, the statement Mitch McConnell made, but he didn't talk about the statements that Joe Biden made. In the documentary, he automatic caters toward the Democratic Party, as if the Democratic Party hasn't also locked and denied ADOS people out. They have. It won't just the Republicans, it's the Democratic Party too. And we must know and understand that. That's why ADOS said down ballot Democrat. That's why we wrote ADOS at the top of the ticket. None of you would listen, but yet you listening now, because Joe Biden turning out being worse than Trump. See? And you thought you knew who the lesser two evils was, but you didn't understand the politics behind the madness. So the truth is, you didn't know who the lesser two evils was, because you wasn't able to see past their titles, Democrat and Republican. ADOS was. ADOS knew it wasn't about titles. We knew it was about getting something from the table. Voting is an exchange. That's bottom line. If you ain't getting the exchange from it, you lost. You didn't do the right way. And that exchange must happen before you cast your vote for the person. Don't listen to, I had to listen to people that graduate college and all kind of stuff telling me the way it work is you wait till you get them in the White House and then you make demand. No, you make the demand first. period. That ain't how it goes. We listen to all of it. We listen to people shoot the daggers at us. Now everybody, now now everybody is tuning in. Everybody paying attention because what we said was gonna happen happened. We see it and we see it happening. We are saying the time is now to stand up and fight back. We must stop following the things they tell us to follow. So this is us saying we want to think, we want to move for ourselves. And that's what ADOS made a statement about doing down ballot. Another thing I want to point out is when I say you got to watch everybody, because even within the midst of the truth, the lie can be there. But you might not know the lie because you can't connect the dots because you don't know your history. You need to be able to see these things. What I just broke down with this show, if you watch it, you're gonna watch and understand as he go after undermining white supremacy. At the same time, he caters to it because his story comes from the base and the heart of white supremacy. That's why the stories of ADOS and what we endured by building this nation wasn't dug into. It was spoke on other levels and brought in other groups, yet not tying them to the day's time and pointing out how it's like all of these groups are against this one group now because nobody minds seeing ADOS men and ADOS women killed off and starved out. I think I bring the show to an end. I appreciate everybody for jumping on, listening in. And it's I read this here too. It's more disappointing news. Biden is revealing the international entrepreneurial rule where immigrants can build startup companies in the U.S. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. This new bill, this international entrepreneurial rule for immigrants. We are about to be buried, and we can't get our people to come together in solidarity due to their own egos. Their own egos. They gonna watch the extinction. I told you the extinction of the ADOS people is what they rather watch than to stand up and fight. For those who need more perspective, consider the fact that ADOS attained less than 2% of the PP loan to support assisted business. That's right. That's what happened. That's what we are trying to get people to know and understand. This new bill, it's gonna lock us out of this country. Yet they are taking what we built and building a whole nother group right over top of us, as if we never existed. Yet when the conversation come up about reparation, what you gonna do for Black ADOS people, you hear crickets in the room. These are the signs that we are still in chains and in slavery. When are we going to stand in solidarity and fight together? We already got enough people shooting at our heads as it is. I say that all ADOS people out there tonight, wherever you are, whenever you look at this video, when are you going to stop and say, this is the only group I can be part of? This is the only group that I am part of, and I choose to stand in solidarity with them? Or will you continue to run around and say, I'm a free man, I'm a reparationist? Know when it happens to us all. As always, become a chess player. Stop being chess pieces. Stay strong, stay focused, and continue to move the line forward. Love you, fam. We're going to close out. And you can watch the end of the show to get more information. Good night.